Hello again, and welcome to another edition of Minor Obsession. I'm Sean Newton here by myself again today. Scott has taken a hiatus during the most important time of Charlotte 49ers life, but, he'll be back soon. I'll just keep holding it down in the meantime. And before we get into a special Christmas interview with a longtime 49er, I want to give you guys a little information about some exciting news we have ourselves. So behind the scenes during our normal podcasting and keeping up with the 49ers, Scott and myself are also very active in the alumni communities for the Belk College of Business, and really excited to share today that we have come to an agreement with the Belk College of Business to be our official sponsor. So moving forward, you'll get a beautiful Belk College of Business sponsorship message before each episode, and we can't be more excited to help further the message of the great career path education that the Belk College of Business can do. So, as the inaugural episode, I'd like to tell you that this episode of Minor Obsession is brought to you by the UNC Charlotte Belk College of Business, North Carolina's Urban Research Business School. As alumni of the Belk College ourselves, we encourage you to visit belkcollege.uncc.edu and learn how Charlotte's Business School can inspire your career path. And now to our special Christmas episode. We had a chance to catch up with a longtime 49er in the baseball program. He was a player himself, came back to coach for us, coached under Lauren Hibbs, and now is coaching under our new head coach, Robert Woodard. Bo Robinson. I'd like to say you don't know Bo until you hear our interview with him. So without further ado, enjoy. Welcome everyone to another edition of Minor Obsession. We've got a special treat for you today. We've got Bo Robinson in the house, Charlotte Baseball's associate head coach and hitting coach. Bo, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. On a beautiful day out here at Tom and Lib Phillips Field. Nice and rainy for us. Definitely football weather.
Yeah, that's right. It's baseball weather soon enough.
That's right.
So starting off, we normally dive into, getting to know Bo Robinson and where he came from and how he got into baseball. So can you give us some insight into what Bo was like as a kid growing up, loving baseball?
Well, that's for sure. I mean, I could definitely do that. I mean, depends on how far back you want to go. But as a kid, I grew up here in Charlotte, North Carolina, over on the south side of Charlotte. I ended up going to Quail Hollow Junior High School, ended up going to South Meck High School. Obviously, my family played a huge role in obviously me playing the game that I love, which is baseball. My dad played professionally for 7 or 8 years, so I had a really good coach growing up, guy that played professional baseball, like I said, for a while, and obviously had a lot of good instruction along the way through him. And obviously my mom was very supportive of that. She followed my dad around playing ball when he was coming up through the minor leagues and whatnot. But that kind of led me down the path here, being a Charlotte kid that wanted to go to school here at Charlotte. I wanted to stay home for many reasons, and during that time it was a big deal for all the high school kids that all played against each other in high school. And back then Legion ball was really big, so we played against each other a lot. Also were teammates with each other a lot, and we all wanted to stay here in Charlotte and make something special out of this place. And that was obviously in the 90s, mid to late 90s. So we joined forces and came out here to Charlotte and wanted to make this into something special. Obviously during that time, Coach Hibbs was here, and he was just getting started with the program, and he took it obviously to some pretty special places. But Charlotte 49ers baseball has always been a big thing for me, and a lot of pride that's there since I am from Charlotte. Obviously I got a chance to meet a lot of people along the way. I get a chance now as a coach. Now that I've been here, this will be my 8th year here, which is kind of crazy. It's gone by fast. But I know a lot of people have a lot of connections here in the Charlotte community with the high school coaches and whatnot. So it's been a lot of fun. It's definitely been a lot of fun to be here at Charlotte, basically be here at home, still near my family. My wife actually went to school here. She was a cheerleader here as well. We met obviously in high school, been together almost 22 years. I don't want to get in trouble here with my wife. but it's been awesome. We get a chance to stay home. So it's been a lot of fun.
So you're one of the unique. We have a few, and we love all of them. Like Byron Dinkins, we've got Anthony Davison with tennis. You're one of those people that played here, now coaches here. Can you talk a little bit about that? And you talked a little bit about being in Charlotte and growing up here, and then that kind of driving you here. But then coming back and staying through. You've been a coach here since what, 2012? So it's been a bit.
Since 2012. And the one cool thing, I never realized how much I love Charlotte. When you're from here, you're born and raised here, you go to school here, obviously this is home. But I had a chance to go play 8 years professionally. And when I got a chance to go see the world a little bit, got a chance to travel the country, got a chance to be at a lot of cool places, got a chance to play against a lot of good players. But the more you get away from Charlotte, the more you kind of realize how much you love it and how much you miss it. So there for about 8 years, I was traveling all over the place, and Charlotte is home. I mean, it's always been home for me. My kids are obviously in school now here in the Charlotte district, and we live over in Union County now. But they love it here. The grandparents are here. But it's been very unique for me to be able to come back to coach at my alma mater. And it's special to me. I mean, I thought we've always had a really good program here. We've always been building. We've always been trying to get over that hump and whatnot, and we have, obviously, under Coach Hibbs. But it's been kind of a cool to see the new transition that we're going through here. It's definitely different for sure, but we're all excited about it. I know our kids are excited, and it's fun to be out here to try to help our school get to certain places that we really all think that we can get to. So, but it's been a lot of fun.
One of the other unique perspectives you probably have being around as a child and then going to school here and then coming back is the growth that this campus has seen in the surrounding area. What's the biggest thing that sticks out in your mind as a difference between either, child or college playing to now?
Well, the funny thing about it, as a child growing up in Charlotte, I've seen this city just take off and explode. I mean, it was a smaller kind of southern town then. Now it's turned into a hub, obviously for the airport. The downtown area now has 2 professional teams. Well, really 3 if you want to count the AAA team. But we got the Carolina Panthers, the Charlotte Hornets, and obviously the Charlotte Knights. So, I mean, just seeing the city grow has been awesome in itself. So now it's turned into a big city, which kind of can be a little bit scary at times, but as long as it doesn't get too big. But it's still a great place to live, great place to raise a family. The schools are great and whatnot. But the other part of it, too, is I obviously do a lot of the recruiting and help out with a lot of the recruiting. And I'm very prideful of this place and seeing how much the campus has grown. This school is not the same school that I went to in the 90s. I mean, it's completely different. I mean, I'm actually looking back out here in the back where I remember where the football field is with our location that we're talking right now. But that used to be nothing but woods. That used to be nothing but trails and whatnot. And just how proud I am to be an alum and seeing how nice this place is. Every recruit that I've brought on this campus and driven him around or his parents around and whatnot, they all speak to how beautiful our campus is. And there's a lot of pride that's there being an alum, and you're proud to show off the campus that you went to. And obviously we all think this place is a very special place. But the cool thing is we've had a chance to see it grow. When it was a smaller school, it was kind of a commuter school when I was here. I think there was the population, or not the population, but the enrollment was right around 17,000. I think probably about 6 or 7 of those 1,000 was probably commuters when I was going to school here. Now it's up to close to 30,000 students. We got football. They're staying here in town. They're not going home. With us winning that football game against Marshall last week, it was fun to see all the alumni and all the students show up for the football game, even though it was raining. But you can see the excitement that's going on with the programs and the athletic department and all that good stuff like that. It's fun to see because 20-something years ago, we didn't have any of that. And it's kind of cool to see us kind of go from kind of a mid-major market athletic program to now we're trying to get to the big time. So it's cool to see, and we're in a good time right now to kind of see it all happen and unfold.
So going back 20-something years ago when you were a player, you have the only UNC Charlotte player ever to have 100 RBIs in one season, and you were there during the mid-'90s when our basketball team was doing well. So I think the campus was still almost in a similar spot from excitement.
It was. That's for sure. I mean, I do know watching those basketball games up there in Halton Arena, that was the place to be. The cool thing that we had during that time was we would have our baseball practice, whatever, in the fall, and it was like we need to be done with our practice, need to make sure we get up to the basketball game to support those guys. And During that time, I think it was Bobby Lutz and Melvin Watkins. Man, they took this place to some pretty special places, and it was fun. That place was rowdy. It was packed. A lot of excitement. We knew we were good. I mean, we expected to win. I mean, that's kind of the mentality that we all want to have here at Charlotte. Is we're not the little guy on campus. We want to be the one that's taking it to people and whatnot. But yeah, during the 90s here with the baseball program, I mean, we didn't have a whole lot. I do remember that. I mean, we just had like a glorified high school baseball field with that kind of a broke down press box, and our speakers, I remember, didn't work real well, so we tried to play music and it'd be real staticky out here. But that was something that we kind of took to as a program, that we're still going to go out there and still win ball games, and there was a lot of pride there with a lot of kids that we had on the team, and you speak to that year that I had a long time ago. I mean, that was a fun year. It was a fun team, but that speaks to the guys that were around me. I mean, this the guys that in the leadoff spot, the Gerald Parrs, the Joey Hammonds, the James Mattins, and all those guys that were always on base. I mean, it kind of made things a lot easier for myself, but that was a fun time. I mean, we had really good teams, and those guys I still talk to all the time. But just the basketball program, I mean, which was obviously the thing to do on campus during that time, that was kind of the main sport, and I guess baseball and soccer were probably the other two main sports. But it's good to see this place and the athletic department grow with the football program. Obviously, the basketball program's doing really well. They had a big win against Wake Forest the other day, which goes to show what Coach Sanchez is doing with that program. And we're excited to get started in February to see what we got. I know our kids have been working hard, that's for sure. And we're going to hopefully see the fruits of the labor show up in February, March, and April.
So you were recruited by Coach Hibbs, and then you coached under Hibbs. Can you talk a little bit about that relationship?
Yeah, the one thing that Coach Hibbs gave me two opportunities, and I will always be forever grateful for that. He's a huge mentor of mine, almost like another father figure type guy that I had when I was in college. Because obviously when you leave high school, your mom and your dad kind of turn you over to the head coach and whatnot, and he was obviously a great positive role model for me and the whole team back then. But yeah, he gave me an opportunity to play as a young high school teenager. Came here, I grew up a lot. I know I did. After my freshman and sophomore year, he does a great job with turning young teenagers into men. And then obviously went off and played 8 years professional baseball. When he asked me to come back out here to help as an assistant, that was a no-brainer for me. I obviously knew what he was about. I knew what the program was about, and all that stuff. And it was exciting for me to come back home to actually try to help out the school that gave me so much. And I thought that was huge for me, and that's how much respect I have for Coach Hibbs and what he's done. I mean, heck, he was here for 27 years, had a lot of really good ball clubs. I'm happy for him. I know that he was in retirement and ended up going back to his alma mater, which I know he's fired up about that. He gets to kind of go back to a place that he helped build. I mean, he obviously won a national championship at Wichita State, and obviously was a coach there for a while, played there for 4 years, had a chance to play professional baseball. But he's home. I mean, he's back home with his mom and in an area that he knows really well. And I knew if he ever had a chance to leave Charlotte, that would really be the only place that he would go, because Wichita State meant that much to him. And he's over there as an assistant AD that's in charge of baseball operations. I know he's going to do a heck of a job. I guarantee he's going to continue to keep coaching from the side, even though he's maybe not in full uniform, but he's going to keep coaching because that's just what he is. He loves baseball, and he loves to coach, and he loves to mentor kids and help them continue to grow. But he means a lot to me, and obviously with the transition of us moving into in the Robert Woodard era, it's been a smooth transition. I mean, everything's been great. I still get a chance to do a lot of the same things I've done before, but I think that we got a chance to do some pretty special things and continue on with Coach Hibbs' legacy, and obviously moving on with Coach Woodard.
So a lot of times when a new coach comes in, they bring in a new staff and whatnot. Mm-hmm. What made you stick around?
The big thing is I did have a relationship with Coach Woodard. I mean, I was a product. I helped open up On Deck Baseball Academy over on the south side of Charlotte. Matter of fact, it was Mike Schilt and myself. We kind of opened that place up. Tried to help out the youth of Charlotte baseball and the high school kids and whatnot. And obviously Robert Woodard was one of the kids that came through there. And so I got a chance to to coach Robert a little bit, so I've known him, got a chance to see him grow from afar as he went to go play at Chapel Hill. We were proud of him because obviously an On Deck alum, On Deck Academy alumni, and got a chance to see him have a really, really good career in college. Got a chance to watch him a couple years in professional baseball, but we all knew that Robert had a chance to be a really good coach because he was a student of the game. So he came back, coached at his alma mater at Chapel Hill. Then I think he went to Wilmington, then obviously went to Virginia Tech, and then ended up back at Chapel Hill. And you can kind of tell from all of us that going back to your alma mater is always a pretty special thing for everybody. But when he got the head coaching job, ours obviously had a prior relationship with him, so we talked through it a little bit. The other person that we have on staff is Toby Bicknell. I've known him for 20-plus years. He was a product of On Deck Baseball Academy and kind of under the Mike Schilt coaching tree that we all started over there at On Deck Baseball Academy. So I've known him, got a chance to follow his career. Good gracious, he went from Pembroke, he went to Davidson, to Air Force Academy as a coach, and also ended up at Kentucky. But I stayed in contact with him quite a bit because he was working with a company, or actually he owned a company in Texas called PBR Texas, which is basically a recruiting type service, but it's more so trying to help kids get opportunities to be seen in the Texas area. So he's very in tune to what's going on with the recruiting process, and obviously had to deal with a lot of college coaches working for PBR. But it's been nice to be around him, and obviously Tyler Simmons, who's another one who's been on the staff with Coach Hibbs for 3 years, and now he's in his first year with Coach Woodard. So that's been a smooth transition because I already knew him, and he works with our catchers. So it's been really nice because we all have known each other, and the cool thing about it is we're all from Charlotte.
Yeah.
And whenever, I mean, I know Charlotte is a big city, but when you start talking in terms of baseball in the Charlotte area, it's kind of a small community because we all know each other. We've been around each other a long time. Even though we've all kind of gone in separate different directions, it's kind of cool to see us all end up back here at the same place at the same time because we've had a prior history together. And all these guys, they work, man. It's been cool being in the office. I mean, we got guys that, I mean, obviously we all have kind of different roles in what we do and different things that we need to be taken care of and different priorities, but we're all working together. I mean, the recruiting's been really well. With Coach Bignell, we all help out with that, and obviously Coach Woodard has a good reputation with the pitchers that are out there. And Coach Simmons is kind of helping out with some of the data and the analytics stuff that's been pretty cool. So I think we got a cool staff that all has different things that they can bring to the table, and I think that's important. You don't want everybody to be you want everybody to have their own strengths and their own weaknesses and whatnot. We can all work together and make this place the best place that we can possibly make it. And it's really for the kids and their player development. How can we help them the most and provide for them the most to make them the best players that they can be, and their 4-year experience be a really good one.
So one of the things that's been so striking about the coaching staff that's in place under Coach Healy for football is the brotherhood that they have. They all were friends before they came here and really consider it a family. And it sounds like, as you described the staff that is in place under Coach Woodard, we may have some of that churning here too, where you've got everybody who's kind of known each other for a long time. Would you say you've got that family feel already here before the season even starts?
Yeah, we do because of the prior history that we had knowing each other. And we've all come from the same – I guess we've all been cut from the same cloth, so to speak, with how we all got started in the coaching game, which I think is helpful for all of us. And we all know each other as people first. And obviously I think that's important for anybody to make sure a staff gets along and works together the right way. And we all have our different expertises, which I think kind of fits into the mold of giving our student athletes the best possible experience that they can have.
And while we're on the on-deck topic, it hurts to ask this as a lifelong Braves fan, but do you still keep up with Mike, and how happy are you for his success this season?
Man, I talked to Mike yesterday on the phone, as a matter of fact. I mean, it's a long history with Mike. I don't really go into it. I don't like to really talk a whole lot about myself and all that, but he is a very special person to me. We grew up in the same neighborhood. I mean, he was really close with my family. He's the same age as my older sister. So he was always over at my house when I was 7, 8, 9, 10 years old and whatnot over there on the south side of Charlotte. So there's a long history that's there, and the story that he has is amazing. But he has such a pride in the game, I mean, obviously he grew up with watching the Charlotte O's play out there at Crockett Park a long time ago, and so he's been around the pro game a lot. But he has such a respect for the game, and the biggest thing with him is how well he deals with players, and how well he deals with people. He's just a good person at heart. He wants what's best for everybody. He's a great coach. I mean, good X's and O's coach, but he also knows how to basically deal with different personalities. Everybody's different. I think that's a huge trait for him, why he's having a lot of success at the big league level, because when you get to the big leagues, I mean, those guys know what they're doing, but can you manage the clubhouse? And I know that he is unbelievable at doing that, because he knows how to get the most out of everybody, even though kids and players might be different. He knows how to handle those situations. But for him to get that award, it's not surprising to me, which it's kind of hard to say that, because I was listening to a thing the other day where he's the first, I guess, manager to get manager of the year without ever playing or having professional baseball experience. It doesn't matter. Just when you get a chance, I got a chance to play for him for 2 years, but I got a chance to watch him coach over there at On Deck when he opened up that academy. You knew he had something special in there as a coach, because he was tough. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he was tough, but at the same time, he cared. And you can be that type of coach. You can be tough on guys and whatnot, but if you care about them, then they'll play hard for you. And you can kind of tell how the Cardinals played at the end of the year, especially the second half of the year when they took off and got really hot. It's almost like it started clicking for him, and it's no surprise, because his teams have always gotten better over the course of the year. Every team he's ever coached. But it's kind of humbling for me to know him really well, but to see his success, because he's one of those guys that he's earned it. And just the story that he has to get to where he is, I mean, we can make a movie out of it, to be quite honest with you. And he was a high school coach that ended up being a coach out here at Asheville first, then at UNC Charlotte. After that, he ended up opening the academy, then got into scouting for the Cardinals. He did that for about 5, 6, 7 years, and they finally gave him an opportunity to get on the field. And then once he did that, I knew he was going to move up the ladder. So pretty cool story, to say the least, and happy to be a part of his life and whatnot. And we stay in touch all the time, and we talk about baseball all the time. Every off season we get together over at his house, and we just kind of talk about what's kind of the new stuff that's going on, and what works for them and what doesn't work for them, and what they're doing at the big league level. So just to have that person as a resource that's out there seeing the game at the highest level, that can give you obviously any type of instruction and help guys out, I mean, it's always awesome.
So transitioning into baseball this season, what can we expect? I know we've got NC State at BB&T Ballpark again, and I think it's March 24th. And that's always a fun game to come out to.
That's always a good one.
We haven't won it yet. Last year was our closest one in a while.
Well, what to expect? That's a good question. It always is. I mean, I know. I'll tell you this: our kids are going to play hard. What I've seen over the course of the fall is they're going to get after it. They are definitely working. They're definitely getting after it, and they're working. But the big thing for them is just being consistent. I mean, that's the one thing we kind of dealt with a little bit last year. We had Matt Brooks. We had an injury with him, who was obviously he was really cruising at the time that he got hurt. So we're trying to get him back healthy. I think our arms are going to be in good shape. Some of the new guys that we've added to the crop of pitchers is always a big thing. I mean, it always starts on, much as I love hitting and all that stuff like that, which I think everybody knows that, it all starts on the mound. It's pitching and defense, and I think we're going to be good on the mound. And I think we got some older guys in the Todd Elwoods and Rafi Vasquez and Carson Johnson that are all seniors. They're wanting to have a bounce back year and do some really special things. And you talked about the BB&T Ballpark games. Those are always the best ones. Those are always fun. I know that's one we always get a big crowd. Everybody gets a chance to see us. We're going to go out there to win every single game that we can. And obviously, I don't care who we play. It doesn't matter if it's the ACC team, SEC team. I mean, obviously, you guys have seen our schedule that we played in the past. We don't care who we play. We expect to win. We've had a lot of big wins, but we got to knock State off out downtown Charlotte in front of everybody. But it's always fun. Those games are always fun. I think everybody gets a chance to see us downtown. A great atmosphere. I know our kids love it. Our coaches love it. They almost feel like they're in the big leagues for a day, but at the same time, we're going out there with the mentality we need to take care of business.
So another big thing that we've seen highlighted recently out of Coach Woodard is emphasis on using analytics in the game. Is that a change to you, or is that something that you've been studying for a while?
No, it's stuff that I've been, and like I said, I talk to Mike Schilt about that stuff every year, and he keeps saying there's a little bit more and a little bit more that keeps being added into it. I've studied it for quite a few years now, and I know enough about it to be dangerous. I don't know all of it. I don't think anybody knows all of it because there's so much information that is out there now. But the big thing from a coaching standpoint is analytics help, but it's not going to solve every problem for you. But at the same time, if you can mirror both of those things together and actually find a way to help communicate to the kids and give them data and give them information to show them what they are doing, it also helps. I mean, there's a lot of good things about analytics that we're using right now. I mean, heck, we've got the blast system, which we've been talking about quite a bit. It talks about certain areas of the swing, which is things that we already know, but now it actually gives you data and gives you numbers. This is where we want to get to. The Rapsodo stuff that we have in the indoor facility, we haven't had that in the past, but I've seen it being used at other places. I think it's been a great tool, talking about exit velocities, talking about spin rates, launch angles, all the stuff that we already kind of knew a little bit, but now it gives you the numbers to back it up with you and to show the kids what they're doing and how they're getting better and how they're progressing. But analytics has always been a part of the game, but now they have a chance to measure it a lot better and use the data. I mean, you talk about shifts. I mean, you can see the shifts in the big leagues now. I know we started doing that a little bit 2 years ago. We started using analytics with the shifting 2 years ago. We're probably going to be a little bit more aggressive with that this year with how we're going to play our defenses. And the analytics don't lie. I mean, if the kid's hitting the ball on one side of the field all the time, why not put your defense over there? I mean, it's very much like what they probably do in football. I mean, if the team's going to run all the time, you're probably going to put more guys in the box. I mean, you want to try to stop what the other team does really well and talk about strengths and weaknesses and whatnot. But the analytics it's going to be a cool thing for us to use, and we're all going to continue to keep learning from it. I know it's becoming a bigger thing in the big leagues now because obviously that's where the most exposure is to it. But we've been using it in college baseball for quite some time, probably here the last 4 or 5 years. But it's become bigger and bigger, and I think teams are starting to use it a little bit more at a time. But you also have to know it and you have to understand it, know how to apply it. That's going to help the kids out because sometimes you can just get a whole lot of information that doesn't mean a whole lot if you don't understand it. But I think it's been great. It's been great. I mean, that's where the game's going. It's obviously going in that direction some, and you need to learn it. So,
with football doing so well, we've seen a lot of club lit, and I know after UNC Charlotte beat Wake in basketball, Coach Sanchez teased taking off his shirt.
Yeah.
Can we expect something like that on the baseball side?
Ooh. That's a good question. The one thing that's different about baseball is we play so much. Good gracious, I think I'd have a heart attack if I did that after every single game that we won. But no, I mean, I think I'll say this. I mean, our kids are having a good time. I know that the social media that thing can take hold, and you can see a lot of cool things that are going on out there. I guarantee Club Lit right now is helping recruiting. Because I know what these high school kids are looking for. They want to play for an energetic coach and all that stuff like that. So I guarantee they're watching that stuff, and they think it'd probably be a really cool place to play. I'm not sure what the baseball coaches are going to do. It'd be interesting to see Coach Woody. He's kind of more low key and kind of more a little, I guess, chill. I would say. But you kind of have to be that way a little bit more in baseball because you play so much. And if you want to ride the roller coaster ride on your highs and your lows, I'm telling you, you're going to probably have to go to the doctor at the end of the year. You got to have to stay a little more even keel probably in baseball. But in football, man, I get it. Man, they're playing once a week. They're prancing their tails off, I guess, 5 or 6 days out of the week, and then they get one shot at it on Saturday to go after it. So I can see how that gets exciting for all those kids. And to be honest with you, I mean, if it motivates those kids to win and to play well, man, I'm all about it. And it's all about winning at the end of the day. And then the kids having a great experience here in college. You can tell they're having a lot of fun, but they're having a lot of fun and they're winning. And that's the big thing. And that's important for any sport and for any coach. You need to enjoy what you're doing. But at the end of the day, we want to obviously win ball games, and that's kind of the bottom line.
Here's a real hardball question for you. We've got a great offensive-minded associate head coach. We've got a pitching-minded head coach. You're in the box. He's on the mound.
Yep.
Who's winning that battle, prime and now?
Ooh, he would definitely win it now. I'm 44 years old. I'd probably hurt my back trying to swing the bat right now. But in the prime, I guarantee we'd probably get each other.
Yeah.
We'd probably get each other. He'd probably get me out several times. I'd probably get him a couple times. I mean, obviously, hitting's a game of failure anyway. So heck, if you fail 7 times out of 10, I guess you're still doing pretty well. But it'd have been an interesting matchup. That'd have been sure. It'd have been fun, and I know we both would have competed against each other because I know he was a bulldog on the mound, and I wasn't a big fan of pitchers. So so we would have definitely competed on the mound. When I say I wasn't a big fan of pitchers, I mean it's obviously that's just in competition. But it would have been interesting. It'd have been fun.
You think he's giving you a little chin music, brushing your back a few times?
He would probably do that, but I would stay in there.
So on a more serious note, one other thought that I had is, it's been since 2011 since we cracked the postseason and made it into the NCAA tournament. But along the way, we've had some really good players like Netzer and Nick Dean and others like that. What do you think we're missing that has stopped us from getting over that hump, and what can we do to get there?
Well, I'll say this. I mean, when you go back, I think I got here in 2012 fall, if I'm not mistaken. But the transition that we went through from the Atlantic 10 to Conference USA was a huge jump. And I mean, I remember my first year I got here. I think there was 5 total players drafted in the Atlantic 10. The year that I got here, and then the very next year we went into Conference USA where there was 37 players drafted, just to kind of give you an idea of the caliber of the league. So whenever you're trying to go through a transition from league like the Atlantic 10 that pretty much dominated that league for a lot of years, Charlotte did, and then moving into that league, you have to change your recruiting. You have to obviously get it, especially on the mound and whatnot. You have to get really good athletes, physical players, guys that you think have a chance to be pro players, to be quite honest with you. So I think that's kind of taken shape. I know we started going down the right track there for about 3 years in a row, and then we kind of had a little bit of a setback last year with some injuries and whatnot, and we just couldn't put it together, couldn't get hot. But I'm excited about this year. I'm definitely excited about the recruiting class that we have coming in. Because at the end of the day, good players make you look like good coaches, but at the end of the day, it's about the players and always will be. It's a good league, but I know that we can be at the top of that league. We just need to keep recruiting the right type of kids. They need to keep developing. They need to keep getting better, and the expectation in their minds needs to be that we're not just going to be middle of the pack and whatnot. We need to be, and with the expectation we're going to be at the top of this league every single year. And you're talking about FAU, who's a perennial top 20 team. I mean, Southern Miss is a perennial top 20 team. Louisiana Tech's always been in top 20, top 30 in the country. I mean, FIU's had one of the top 5 or 10 recruiting class in the country. I mean, these are the guys that we're going up against. But we can play with anybody. The big thing is we just got to be consistent. You got to have depth. You got to definitely have depth on the mound. That's for sure. And obviously the physicality and the speed of the game, you got to make sure you're recruiting the right guys. So I think that we can get into postseason play with the guys that we got on the club, and obviously with a good coaching staff that we have, and we're going to keep working at it. We're going to keep getting after it too, because we know that this place deserves that.
So, Coach, last question for you: player, alumni, coach. What's your favorite Charlotte 49er moment?
Ooh, favorite Charlotte 49er moment. That's a good question. I've had so many of them. Man, I'll say this. I mean, the best moment that I was just being here as a player, and the camaraderie that we had with that group of guys, especially that 98 group, that was a really special group for us. That was probably the best experience that I've had on a baseball field. I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, I had a chance to play I talk about this all the time, even to recruits, especially the ones that were trying to get them to not sign to go play professional baseball. But I played 8 years professionally, but I wouldn't give up my 4 years of college baseball for anything. I mean, because it's all about the team. It's all about showing up every day. You're busting your tail out here on the field with your brothers. And the 4-year college experience, I mean, it makes you grow up. It humbles you as a man. I mean, the game's always going to humble you, but it makes you grow up, makes you mature, and just the friendships that you have through those 4 years is something I'll never forget. And I still talk to those guys all the time. It's just something that is special, and I don't really know how to describe it other than the fact that those are your brothers, that they'll be there for you for the rest of your life. But that was obviously a cool experience. I mean, there's been several. I mean, Tommy Bullock's grand slam home run that he hit a couple years ago against Southern Miss in the tournament. I mean, that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen. And but it's just the whole experience here at Charlotte's been awesome.
Great. Well, thanks a lot for your time, and
man.
we look forward to a great season.
Well, I appreciate you guys anytime, and go Niners.
Go Niners.